what's going on, everyone? This is Chase here at Rocky Mountain. Thank you so much for joining us. This is the new Pod K8 3.0 knee brace. All new from the ground up. This thing came out in late 2024. If you are familiar with the Pod K8 2.0, then know just looking at this, it is completely redesigned. There's hardly, if any, similarities between this and the old K8 2.0. Today, I'm gonna break this whole thing down. So if you have any questions or comments as I go through and I talk about it, please leave those down below and then we will get those answered. I had a lengthy conversation with the designers and developers at Pod. They gave me all the details, so I'm gonna do my best to give you as much information as I can to help you decide if this is the knee brace that you wanna take home. You're making a big investment here, about $800 for the set. So please, again, if you have questions, leave those down below. When it comes to any knee brace, make sure, don't just assume if you've ridden in a different knee brace from a different brand before, don't just assume that you're the same size in both. Use a sizing guide. They do include extra pads for around the knee, so you can help fine tune the fit. But if you get these or any brace that we sell, if it's not exactly how you want it to fit, you can send it back in brand new, unused condition. We'll give you free shipping both ways on your first exchange to make sure you get the size and the fit that is going to be best for you. All right, let's talk about it. As I had mentioned, completely redesigned all new knee brace. Let's talk about the fit first. It feels like the K8 2.0 did. I had the 2.0s. I rode in those for a couple of seasons, put a lot of time in them. I'll give some of my feedback on there. I don't want to give too much just because it is a completely new brace. However, a couple of the things that I like that they've done with this one is they've shortened it up almost a full inch from the K8 2.0. The old brace to me was very comfortable, but it felt too long. This one, an inch shorter, is gonna be much better for riders that are maybe a little vertically challenged like myself. I'm about 5'7", so the shorter the brace for me, the better. The other thing that I noticed too, this is a common question I get, so I'm gonna bring this up, is how low profile or how slim are they around the shin area? Look, I'm gonna be picky here. It is one thing that I wish could be a little bit better, but when I explain this new lower cuff design, you're gonna understand exactly why they made this the way that they did. But is it the most low profile option out there? No, but it's not bad. All right, so with the new 3.0, I just wanna talk about the big standout takeaways that I got learning about this new brace first, so you know what their whole goal was here. They worked with a couple different universities. And what I think is cool that Pod does, they actually have a jig that is built that has a prosthetic leg in there. And what they'll do is they have different size legs, all different shapes and sizes that they can put the braces onto, and they can test the brace and they can put forces onto the knee and the leg and actually measure how much work or how much help the knee brace is doing. And the big thing that I noticed is the new adaptive lower cuff design. So this was a big emphasis that Pod put on this. This is patent pending. So it's a forged carbon fiber frame. Very strong, keeps it lightweight. But a big change now is down here at the bottom. You've got these carbon fiber struts that come on both sides, but this is a soft rubber material right here that bridges those two. And the purpose for that is look at all that flexibility. They want this lower cuff to conform to the rider's leg as best as possible, regardless of the shape, because your muscles are contracting, expanding while you're riding, all that. So they want this to be adaptive to the rider's lower leg, and here's why. My arm is going to be a leg. It's got the brace on. Now, in a perfect world, well, what you gotta realize first is that most injuries, say ACL tears, things like that, happen from twisting motions, not from hyperextension. So what you want, ideally, is that let's say you're going through a corner, you put your leg out, you catch it on the ground. Well, your boot, your ankle's gonna twist, right? And all that force gets transferred to the knee. You want the brace to be able to take away a lot of that force. And the only way to do that is by having that brace conform to the lower leg and the upper as well. But when your leg twists, you don't want it just to twist freely inside the brace. You want the brace to also twist, because that way that brace is absorbing a lot of that force and taking that away from the knee. That's why this lower cuff is designed and built this way, is to help do that. And the number that they throw out is that they were actually able to reduce the amount of force in those twisting movements by up to 54%. So that's a big claim that Pod is making with the new 3.0. That's what's cool about this newer lower cuff design. So pretty unique there. All right, moving up, like we said, forged carbon fiber frame. You do have this flexible piece up here at the top, again, just to help conform to the upper part of the thigh. Now, a change here too is that they now have the carbon fiber on the brace going all the way up to the very top. They actually found that actually adds more support than what they had with the 2.0, where the carbon fiber stopped a little bit sooner, and then this entire upper piece was just a softer material. So that's why it now comes all the way up to the top. With the kneecap design, as you can see, completely different. So this is a viscoelastic polymer. It's like D3O. If you're familiar with D3O, that's what this is similar to. What's cool though is that this is CE level 2. Off the top of my head, I can't think of another knee brace that is CE level 2 rated for impact protection. You're gonna get full coverage at the full bend of the rider's knee. And then on the inside, if we're talking about the hinge here, so the only similarity I would say to their 2.0 is they're still using their human motion hinge. So this is actually called Vectran. You got synthetic fibers that are in this little strip here. And the reason that they've been using this is that it's to mimic the actual motion or the ligaments inside the rider's knee. And so you can see it bends right there. Again, it's just kind of moving freely there. It's incredibly strong. They say actually about 5 times stronger than steel. One difference though with that Vectran is that now it is pre-curved. So when you look at the brace, so most braces, when they're just sitting free like this, they go completely vertical. The pod does keep just a slight bend to it, which is fine. One, I would want the brace to lock out maybe just a touch sooner than completely vertical to help reduce the chance of a hyperextension injury. But what they've also found too is that rarely are you standing, especially riding, you're rarely standing with your legs just completely locked out. You're always gonna have a slight bend to them. And so they wanted to make sure that at its straightest point, or when you're at your straightest point, the brace was still going to stay in a good position to protect you. And that's another feature I wanna bring up too, is they now have it to where when you put this brace on, it sits deeper into the knee, or it nests deeper on the knee. That's the word that they use, it nests. And why is that important? Again, like I mentioned, is most knee braces, when your knee is bending, those hinges stay right where they need to, but as soon as you start to straighten out a little bit, maybe you've noticed this before, some knee braces, when you're standing almost perfectly up and down, you feel like the hinge is too far forward, it's not even sitting on the actual knee or where your knee is going to bend. So again, that's gonna sit a little bit deeper just to help the brace stay in the correct position at all times. Another cool unique feature to this is now when the knee brace bends, so they've actually got a greater range of motion with the bending. That's gonna be a benefit for taller riders. If you're a taller rider and you've worn a knee brace or maybe a knee guard before and you've bent your knee, so maybe you've got your foot on the pegs, you bend, well, sometimes what can happen is it looks like this upper part's trying to lift up off your leg and it pokes up through your pants. You don't have to worry about that anymore. So it's gonna help keep this flat against your thigh even when your leg has a big bend to it. The hinge is asymmetrical, again, trying to mimic the natural shape of a leg. If you look at your knee, it's not just symmetrical on both sides, so it is there to mimic the actual, or again, follow the contours of the rider's leg. The strap design, very unique. Looks simple and basic, but there's some cool features here. So 4 straps, they've got them labeled here so you know what order to put these on. But here's what I like. The upper and the lower straps are quick release. So it's really easy just to pop these on and off. But here's what's unique. So you notice that this strap here, the second one down, notice how that has full range of motion. But when you look at the upper and the lower, there's a tab right here that stops that. So why do they do that? They know that this upper strap and this lower strap, you don't want these to move too much, because when you tighten down, say, this upper strap, if it slides down too far like this, well, then it's not tight anymore and it's not really serving a purpose. So they want this to stay within a certain range to help that strap stay tight, to help keep the brace in place. What is nice though is that this little tab that I mentioned right here does also act as a stop, so that if you get a force or a hit to it, it's not gonna allow that strap to come loose accidentally. That's the upper and the lower. And then this strap, again, this one, they say this is okay to have range of motion. This one's gonna sit just above the knee, underneath. This one, it's not, the chance of this falling down and becoming loose are a lot less, so they've allowed that to have more range there. But then this strap that sits on top of the calf doesn't have any movement whatsoever. That's because this strap is going to be the primary strap that keeps the brace in place and prevents it from sliding down the leg. So this one, they did not want to fall down or get loose, because then the brace is going to want to slide. So they have this to where it's stationary, so you tighten that down again, as that's the first strap you're going to put on when you put on the knee brace. Cinch that down. That is going to help keep the knee brace in place while you are riding. One thing I didn't bring up with the hinges is, again, with that new system, these pads that we mentioned earlier are now molded. So again, very comfortable, and what's nice is that they just click in and out, or you have a little tab right here. So you pop that tab out, you pull the whole pad out, and then put this one in. So to me, it's just more durable, it's gonna be better than Velcro, and it's gonna make sure that when you do put these in, it's going in the right location. It's gonna be just how you want it to be. And then you do have extension stops. As before, these actually just slide right into the hinge, very easy to install. If you want the brace to lock out a little bit sooner, maybe you've had a hyperextension injury in the past, so you want the brace to lock out sooner, you can put those in there to help it do so. The padding. I think honestly, Pod uses some of the best padding that is on the market for any knee brace. I had the K 2.0s, and one aspect about those that did stand out to me is how durable they were. They lasted very, very well. I used them for 2 full seasons, put a ton of time in them, and I had 0 issues with the padding or the foam. So what they've done is they've actually molded the foam to the frame itself. I like that because that way it's not gonna be sliding around, and this hex foam that they're using, again, same feel as the K 2.0. It's comfortable, it's moisture wicking, it doesn't absorb sweat, so it's not gonna stink and get nasty on you, but it does last a very, very long time. And again, on the inside here, you can see all that red. That's that viscoelastic polymer that they're using for the kneecap. But then on the outside here, this gray is actually a softer rubber material. Again, CE level 2 for impact protection. And that's it. That is the new Pod K8 3.0, all new from the ground up. Very, very little similarities to the old knee brace. If you have questions or comments about it, please leave those down below. We'll get those answered. To grab a set, click the link, or head to RockyMountainATVMC.com. You know the deal, with ship for free over $75. And if you want to stay up to date on product spotlights like this, get subscribed to the Rocky Mountain YouTube channel. I'm Chase, and we'll see you on the trails.